investigation. Thousands show up in Baltimore to pay their respects to the late Elijah Cummings, and in sports, OU men's basketball recruits want to make an impact. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Anna Azalian. Thanks for joining us. A new development in Ohio University's Greek life and student organization hazing allegations. Early today, the university released documents pertaining to the nature of allegations against suspended groups. The allegations range in severity and come from students, alumni, and parents. Incident reports against two fraternities, Lambda Chi Alpha and Phi Kappa Psi, describe what is called Hell Week. According to the reports, pledges were kept in basements for a week and barred from bathing, sleeping at home, doing homework, and going anywhere but to class. This treatment caused one Lambda Chi Alpha pledge to end up in the hospital after an asthma attack. Several fraternities, the Ohio University rugby team, and the Marching 110 were also accused of forcing or pressuring members to drink in excess. Another report accused members of the Marching 110 of pressuring new members to burn holes in their uniforms and roll down hills to dirty their jackets. 110 Director Richard Sook says while the dirtying tradition was approved in the past with supervision, two student leaders recently came forward and told him that members would gather at a student's house to hold the event. The blanket suspension of all 15 interfraternity council chapters has been lifted, and some groups have been reinstated as of this week, but many of the groups with allegations leveled against them are still under conduct review. And also here in Athens, there's a few changes coming to the Uptown Athens annual Halloween celebration. Tomorrow's Court Street block party is set to feature a brand new beer garden open from 1 to 11. There's also DJ B-Funk's Fun House, a series of concerts on the top 2 floors of the Athens parking garage, hosted by Brandon Thompson, the lead organizer for the Halloween block party. And as always, the annual Honey for the Heart Parade will come through Uptown Athens tomorrow at 6 p.m. You can find a full list of events today and tomorrow at the Halloween in Athens 2019 Facebook page. And the New York Times reports the Lordstown General Motors plant is now permanently closed. The United Auto Workers Union settled on a contract with the company ending a 40-day strike. Approved by nearly 60% of members, the contract gives union workers wage increases and a path for temporary employees to become permanent. One of the main holdouts for some workers who were voting against the contract was the closing of the Lordstown plant. And Ohio House Bill 6 is in effect, signed into law Tuesday by Governor Mike DeWine. The bill, sponsored by State House Republicans Jamie Callender and Shane Wilkin, creates the Ohio Clean Air Program. The program will bring in money from Ohio Clean Air charges, while green energy mandate charges will be slashed. WOUB reporter Aditya Sahasrabuddhe spoke with some OU students who were targeted by petitioners both supporting and opposing the bill.
Thank you, Anna. Considered to be a bailout by many, the Ohio Clean Air Program would provide $900 million in funding over 6 years to 2 nuclear power plants owned by First Energy Solutions and $120 million to 2 coal plants, one of which is in Indiana. These subsidies would accrue from monthly residential surcharges worth $2.50, while residents would not require paying the current green energy mandate charge of $4.39. In 2021 attracted many petitioners from both sides of the issue. Ohioans Against Corporate Bailout, a group fighting the bill, enlisted petitioners around the state in an attempt to get 265,000 signatures to oppose the bill and put an opposing referendum on the November 2020 ballot. The pro-HB6 group, however, reacted to these petitions with some of their own counter-petitioners, despite needing 0 signatures to pass the bill. Lane Heffelfinger, an Ohio University student, witnessed these petitioners firsthand. He says they were relentless here in Athens.
Signed it probably 3 times just to get them to stop asking me. I walked past them and they have stopped me a couple times. So it's not, I wouldn't really say it's aggressive. It's just very annoying, honestly.
Although the Ohioans Against Corporate Bailout group could not collect sufficient signatures to put the referendum on the November 2020 ballot, and their appeal to gather more signatures was rejected by the District Court Judge Sargas Jr., anti-House Bill 6 advocates can still take the matter to the Ohio Supreme Court.
Thanks, Aditya. And now, moving to Chillicothe, the two teenagers accused of causing the death of a woman at Hocking Hills face 3 felony charges of murder, assault, and involuntary manslaughter. The Hocking County Prosecutor's Office announced the upgraded charges yesterday after the boys denied previous charges of recklessness. Prosecutors have also requested a transfer of the case to adult court. In juvenile court, denying a charge is the same as pleading not guilty. Prosecutors are upset at the lack of remorse shown.
Hi everybody. Well, it was a very gloomy and cloudy day out there today, and it's still pretty cloudy out there right now. 58 is the current temperature. Pressure is at 30.20 inches and falling as a very strong low pressure is making its way into the area. Humidity is at 68%, which is why we're seeing such thick cloud cover. Winds are out of the north at 1 mile an hour. Across the area, temperatures are generally in the upper 50s and lower 60s with some rain further south. That rain is moving in, and it's going to cause a pretty wet weekend. More on that in a second, but right now it's 60 in Ironton, 59 in Jackson, 58 in Chillicothe, 59 in Columbus, 57 in New Lexington, all under cloudy skies, and again that rain is off to our south. Highlights for the next couple of days: a weekend soaker. Some areas could see up to 2 inches of rain this weekend. We will have a pleasant start to next week before a major cool down could be in store for your Halloween. So Anna, make sure you bring out your umbrellas for this weekend if you have any plans to go out and about. It will be quite wet.
So definitely not a super fun Halloween weather-wise.
Definitely not.
Thank you. Now, Athens at-large city council candidates are in full swing for election season. Last night, they met at the Athens Community Center for an open forum discussion. The event, hosted by the Far East Side Neighborhood Association, took questions from the audience, with candidates speaking on issues such as the installation of red light cameras on East State Street and a potential ban of single-use plastics in Athens. The candidates included incumbents Sarah Grace, Patrick McGee, and Peter Katsas, with Chris Monday, Ellie Hamrick, and Beth Clodfelter running to potentially take their seats. A National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day is tomorrow. In observance, many hospitals, police stations, and law enforcement agencies will become places to get rid of old or unwanted prescription drugs. Some agencies are even taking vape products. Certain grocery stores and pharmacies are also participating, and all will be free and anonymous. Ohio's defense against cyber attacks, including those aimed at election systems, is set to see big improvements. Governor Mike DeWine signed a bill today which adds a Chief Information Security Officer at Secretary of State Frank LaRosa's office, who will work to enrich both state and county election security technology efforts. The measure also creates the Ohio Cyber Reserve, a volunteer force of trained, vetted civilians who can be mobilized to help small governments affected by cyber attacks. And the state of Ohio is asking a Cincinnati federal appeals court to rehear a case about a state law prohibiting doctors from performing abortions based on fetal diagnosis of Down syndrome. The Ohio Attorney General's office today filed a request for reconsideration by the Sixth Circuit. Supporters promote the law as an anti-discrimination measure. The ACLU sued the Ohio Department of Health, State Medical Board, and county prosecutors over the law on behalf of Planned Parenthood. And in Cleveland, a massive water main break near I-90 closed down the highway in both directions for a while tonight. At East 55th and South Marginal, water bubbled up from the busted pipe at one point. A Cleveland police car tried driving through the high water along South Marginal, but stalled out. The water department is there now. They turned off the water and are now trying to clean up the mess. The westbound lanes are now open, but 90 East is still closed. And former Democratic presidential candidate Tim Ryan speaks out today after dropping out of the 2020 race earlier this week. The 13th District Congressman didn't make the cut for the latest presidential debate earlier this month. Now he says he has no regrets coming out of his campaign.
No regrets, because we left it all on the field, and I worked as hard as I possibly could. We had a ton of people helping us, and it just didn't work out. I mean, it's just that's the process. It's like, to be president, you've got to run a perfect campaign, and you've got to be very, very lucky. And I think any president will tell you that. You just things need to break your way, and you go back and you watch the game film, and you would have done a lot of things differently. But you either win or you learn, and so you take this as a learning experience.
And coming up, severe weather expected to hit parts of the southern U.S. And in Baltimore, thousands gather in memory of the late Elijah Cummings. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On life from above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet, revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go with throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
Next time on Finding Your Roots, A-list entertainers with family secrets.
Oh my God.
Christopher Walken.
This is stuff that I'm hearing for the first time.
Carly Simon.
Wow, that is amazing. This is such an eye-opener.
Fred Armisen.
What? Why hasn't anyone told me this?
Will their ancestors' true identities redefine who they are?
He looks like a tough customer.
It's like a movie. It is like a movie.
Finding Your Roots.
Nature's journey into the Okavango continues. In this realm, water connects everything. To survive, you must adapt. From elephants, the architects of this Eden, to the endangered predators. No one can predict their fate in this river of dreams.
Thousands paid their respects today to U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings at his funeral services in Baltimore. Cummings' family, members of Congress, and former president shared stories and praised his work in Congress during eulogies.
He was a passionate leader, a dependable friend, and an unrelenting voice for change. His passion for his city, his state, and his country was evident in his practices and his policies. Many of his colleagues have spoken over the past week and today about what an honor and a privilege it was to serve with him. But my sister and I were fortunate enough to hold the highest honor, which was being able to call him Dad.
Hundreds of people lined up before dawn to pay their final respects to the congressman. And yesterday, Cummings became the first African-American lawmaker to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol. And Sunday will be the one-year anniversary of the mass shooting at a Pittsburgh synagogue. The attack killed 11 worshipers and wounded 7 at the Tree of Life Synagogue in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood near Pittsburgh. The synagogue has been closed since the shooting, but plans to honor those who were killed with a virtual remembrance, an overseas concert, and community service projects. And last week, Tree of Life leaders unveiled their vision to rebuild the damaged building. And the latest on the college admissions scandal, the first famous parent sentenced for her actions in the scandal is now out of prison. Actress Felicity Huffman was released from a federal prison in California this morning. Huffman served 11 of the 14 days of her sentence for paying a proctor to correct her daughter's SAT answers. Trials for other parents involved in the scandal are still ongoing. And severe weather threatened parts of the South today. The National Weather Service issues flood watches and warnings across the South, as well as a tornado watch for parts of Mississippi and Alabama. The University of Alabama even had to cancel some homecoming events. A tropical depression caused the flood concerns and will continue to cause heavy rain throughout the weekend as the tropical depression moves north. Forecasters expect the weather system to be centered over Michigan by Sunday. Wildfires are engulfing parts of northern and southern California, forcing many to evacuate. That story is still ahead.
And that decaying tropical system that Anna mentioned is going to affect us this weekend with a lot of rain. I'll have forecasted rainfall totals coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes, but first a look at stocks of local interest.
McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go and throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
Are your ducks in a row? Almost half of Americans do not have a proper estate plan. Estate plans are more than matters of money and inheritance. They can guide your future health decisions and provide special instructions for loved ones in your care. Put your mind at ease by getting your ducks in a row today.
My mom has babies for other people. It's pretty cool, but weird at the same time.
Surrogacy, it's not just gained in popularity nationwide, but in Idaho.
Surrogacy is the new norm oftentimes for those families struggling with fertility.
We had one embryo left. It was the end of the road.
It's so heartbreaking that people out there can't have children of their own.
We want healthy mom, healthy baby. That's our goal.
Made in Boise.
By noon, we had conceded that the town had basically burned down.
The plan was completely overwhelmed by circumstances, but I think those circumstances were not unprecedented.
And I told my husband, I'm like, I can't run through fire. And he said, you're gonna have to.
They've been on probation, they violated the probation. If PG&E was an individual and not a corporation, I think by now they would be in prison.
Heavy smoke covers the skies in northern and southern California as wildfires engulf acres of land and threaten homes. The Tick Fire is burning just north of Los Angeles. Now, fire crews across the state battle flames as 1,000 more are forced to evacuate. Nadia Romero has the latest on the fires.
The Tick Fire in Southern California. Engulfing homes, evacuations mounting.
This is the largest evacuation that we've had in Santa Clarita.
A similar scene at the Kincaid Fire in Northern California, forcing hundreds there to flee.
Geyserville is under mandatory evacuation,
where flames already scorch more than 20,000 acres.
The winds are just blowing embers all over the roads,
with bad air quality spreading.
Those particulates can go deep down into your lungs.
Back in Southern California, on the ground in Santa Clarita, fire crews working overtime as the howling winds help the flames spread, battling against the LA County Fire Department.
Approximately 20-mile-per-hour winds with gusts up to 30 to 40 mile per hour. So we're going to work on containment.
Up north, vineyards are burning in Sonoma County's wine country as planes drop retardant trying to suppress the flames.
We have the best and the brightest in this business. Some of the finest folks that exist in the business doing heroic work.
PG&E reporting an outage of a high-voltage transmission line was spotted right before the Kincaid fire sparked.
What appears to be a broken jumper on one of our transmission towers.
The investigation into what started both fires in Southern and Northern California continues. In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
And it looks like we're not going to be seeing any types of wildfires this weekend for us. It's more going to be rain, and this is all due to a very strong low pressure system down in the Gulf of Mexico. Here it is, very, very high water vapor content down here. This is the water vapor satellite. That low is going to move on up towards us this weekend and really bring a lot of rain, all due to this very strong region of the jet stream. That's called a jet streak. And right in these areas, these right entrance regions and left exit region, right down here, this right entrance region is where we're seeing that strong low pressure forming. So here are the highlights for this weekend. A weekend soaker is in store. A strong surface low, again, as I said earlier, is advancing up to the north, and it's going to bring 1 to maybe even 2 inches of possible rain into the area going into Saturday night into Sunday. Here's that rainfall total map. Basically, the further north and the further west you are, the greater chance of you seeing higher rain totals. The highest rain total, 1.3 inches in Columbus, and the lowest rain totals will be 0.7 inches off to our southeastern counties. So Make sure you bring your umbrellas pretty much anywhere you go throughout the weekend. There's that surface low down here. It's part of a decaying tropical system that'll move up right along the Mississippi River and kind of move up into the lower peninsula of Michigan and then right along the border of Illinois and Indiana. So it's going to really be a wet weekend. There it is again, and that cold front is going to kind of determine the track of that system. But for tonight, late showers. It's already starting to rain further south and further west. Mostly cloudy. Winds will be out of the east-southeast at 0 to 5 miles an hour across the area. Temperatures will generally be in the middle and upper 50s with some upper 40s in there as well. There's that low pressure. It's beginning to die out and occlude, moving up along the Indiana and Illinois border. Tomorrow, 65, rain likely, a 100% chance of rain, and again, a half an inch to an inch of rain expected tomorrow. Across the area, temperatures will be in the middle and upper 60s with rain all across the area. That low pressure finally moves off to the east, allowing a high pressure to move in. It's going to be pretty pleasant for the beginning of next week, but there is a chance for a Halloween cool down. Some of our long-range models are saying by next Thursday we could have a very cool next Thursday. Other long-range models are saying the cool down's not coming till next week. We will keep an eye on it, but in any case, a large upper-level trough, which is a dip in the jet stream, is in store. Here it is on the GFS model. Here it is on the Euro model, so it all depends on which model is correct. 10-day temperature averages, again, we warm you up at the beginning part of the week, cool you down for the end of the week. 10-day air mass is warm for now. We keep you warm for Monday, cooler air is coming on Thursday, and we keep you cool for next Sunday. In the next 7 days, temperatures will be in the 70s before cooling off into the 50s on Thursday. Anna?
Thanks, Nicholas. If you're one of the millions of Americans taking medication to lower your blood pressure, you've probably got a routine to help you stay on top of taking it every day. But new research suggests there's an ideal time of day to take that medication.
Trying to control your blood pressure? Taking antihypertensive medication every day can significantly lower your risk of disease and stroke. But research suggests taking it before bed could help you double down on the benefits. That's according to a study published in the European Heart Journal. Doctors often tell patients to take their blood pressure medication in the morning. But experts say there hasn't been significant research to show that's the best practice. To change that, a team of researchers studied more than 19,000 Spanish patients for over 6 years. All took antihypertensive medication. Roughly half took it in the morning, the others took it before bed. They found those who took it at night had nearly half the risk of dying from heart problems. They also reduced the risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. More research is needed to confirm the results, but experts say these findings are promising and that taking antihypertensive medication before bed poses little risk. For today's Health Minute, I'm Melissa Rainey.
Sports reporter Michael Roth talks with the OU basketball team about their new recruits. Stay tuned for that story and more.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet, revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from the 1990s.
This story is the most widely misunderstood story in America.
Go and throttle up.
How the Challenger disaster affected the way we think about risk.
I will regret always why I didn't break the door down.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
By noon, we had conceded that the town had basically burned down.
The plan was completely overwhelmed by circumstances. But I think those circumstances were not unprecedented.
And I told my husband, I'm like, I can't run through fire. And he said, you're gonna have to.
They've been on probation, they violated the probation. If PG&E was an individual and not a corporation, I think by now they would be in prison.
has babies for other people. It's pretty cool, but weird at the same time.
Surrogacy, it's not just gained in popularity nationwide, but in Idaho.
Surrogacy is the new norm, oftentimes, for those families struggling with fertility.
We had one embryo left. It was the end of the road.
It's so heartbreaking that people out there can't have children of their own.
We want healthy mom, healthy baby. That's our goal.
Made in Boise.
OU's men's basketball team is gearing up for the start of their 2019 season. And according to head coach Jeff Bowles, the incoming class is something to be proud of. Newswatch reporter Michael Roth has more.
For Ohio men's basketball head coach Jeff Bowles, he knew coming into Athens that his staff couldn't wait a second to start building their 2019 recruiting class.
We hit the ground sprinting. Normally hit it running, but I thought our staff did a great job of building relationships, getting kids on campus, and a lot of times when you get a kid on this campus and show them facilities and education and walk around College Green, it sells itself.
One main reason for the success of the class that was ranked first in the MAC, according to 24/7 Sports, assistant coach Lamar Thornton.
We're really happy with the staff we have, and Lamar was with me at Stony Brook, and I think one of the big things he does a great job with is building relationships. And he's very genuine and really cares about the parents, the kid, their situation, and does a good job of building that rapport with them.
He's just somebody who's always reaching out, always trying to talk to you, always trying to let you know what you need to know about OU and what it's like here. So he's just somebody who's always there during the process, always somebody you can reach out to and ask questions.
Thornton, however, credits Bowles for making his job easier.
Coach Bowles is unbelievable. I say it to our guys every day. He's one of the best coaches in the country. And once you have one of the best coaches in the country, it's easy to sell.
Another benefit for the staff, past relationships they built while at Stony Brook.
I felt like I had a personal relationship with them, and especially with Coach Bowles and Coach Thornton. They both stayed on me, and also they were recruiting me prior to coming here. So that also played a big role in it because I had already knew them.
Look for the group of freshmen to get major minutes early in the regular season with such a young roster.
When you have 2 or 3, it's different, but when you have 7, we're going to throw these guys to the wolves, and they're going to be playing from day one.
You can watch these young Bobcats when they open up the season with an exhibition match against Capital on November 2nd in the Convo. For WOUB Sports, I'm Michael Roth.
Thanks, Michael. This selfie is out of this world, literally. The Curiosity rover paused while doing scientific experiments on Mars to take a panoramic shot. This is actually a combination of 57 images. It also marks the first time the rover has done an experiment on a drilled sample. And the experiment is meant to analyze chemical compounds that could provide information about what the climate on Mars used to be like and how it changed. It can also detect organic compounds that are key to life. Scientists should know the results of the experiment next year.
Thanks, Anna. Thursday is Halloween, and here's your Halloween forecast. 59, rain is possible for your trick-or-treating time. Very cool. Winds will be out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And here's a quick look at the extended forecast. 65 tomorrow, 65 as well on Sunday with rain likely. Again, we have 1.5 to 2 inches of rain possible, especially further north and west up towards Columbus. 69 on Monday, warming you back up into the 70s on Tuesday before cooling you back down to the 50s for Thursday.
Thanks, Nicholas. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Anna Azalian. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit from